Your dreams are bigger, bolder, and more badass than the life you're living now, but something just keeps getting in the way. Join certified coach and former therapist Diane Wingert for the Driven Woman podcast. She'll show you how to get rid of whatever is holding you back so you can stop spinning your wheels and up-level your life. Get ready to hop in and buckle up. This is the Driven Woman podcast, and we're heading for the fast lane.
This is Diane Wingert, and I want to thank you for joining me for the first episode of the Driven Woman podcast. I want to tell you a little bit about why I decided to create this podcast and who I hope will be listening. I was a psychotherapist for more than 20 years before training and certifying as a coach. The last few years, I have been working primarily with entrepreneurial and high-achieving women with ADHD challenges. Over the last few years, I have become fascinated with the number of bold, brilliant, and frankly, badass women I've met who, in spite of their potential, in spite of their achievements, continue to struggle with the feeling that they are falling far short of their true potential. Now, some of them are dealing with ADHD, but you might have heard that ADHD is actually the entrepreneurial superpower and not the learning disability that we've heard it is. Well, you're going to learn a lot more about being a woman with ADHD from me, because I'm one too, and I didn't even find out until just a few years ago. I'm also going to talk about some of my favorite subjects like drive, ambition, and motivation, and why some other women are the ones who actually hold us back. I'm going to bring up the juicy topic of ambition shaming and why other people can make it very hard for a woman who's going places. The topics of success and failure, why some of us make it and others don't, and what self-sabotage, imposter complex, upper limit issues, and limiting beliefs have to do with it. You're also going to hear my thoughts about what it's like to be a woman who chooses to stand out instead of fitting in, and how our very biology would interfere. I have a lot to share with you about how the brain actually works and sometimes works against you, but more importantly, what you could do about it. I'm also looking forward to sharing with you my thoughts about confidence and why I believe it is a choice and a skill that we can develop and not a reward for a job well done. We'll talk a lot about productivity and why it means getting the right things done and not getting more done. Because I'm an entrepreneur and I work with entrepreneurs, I have some teachings about the entrepreneurial personality and why I think every woman needs to develop her entrepreneurial traits even if she has a job. We'll talk about mindset, we'll talk about identity, and really any woman who feels there is a gap between where she is now and where she wants to be, well, she's a driven woman, and I hope that she will become a listener to this podcast. If she's a friend, sister, or colleague of yours, tell her about the show. And if she doesn't know how to listen to podcasts, give her a minute of your time and show her how. We also have a free and private Facebook group, which is also called The Driven Woman, and we will be taking the topics that we discuss on the podcast a little bit further and deeper. Now, I do have a little bit of colorful language, so you'll notice that this podcast has an explicit rating. There won't be excessive swearing in every episode, but I'm beyond the point where I really want to inhibit anything about my intensity. So I do let my colorful language fly, and if that's offensive to you, you probably won't want to listen to The Driven Woman. The last thing I want you to know is that because I am a coach, and if you're looking for a coach, you might want to visit my website. The address is dianewingertcoaching.com, and Diane is spelled with 2 N's and no E's. I hope you spend some time there. You can listen to other podcasts I've been a guest on, find out a little bit more about my coaching programs and my mindset, and leave a comment if you'd like. I'd be happy to hear from you. So I'm glad that you've decided to come along for this first ride. Do make sure that you buckle up if you're coming along with the Driven Woman. Things might be bumpy, and we are definitely heading for the fast lane.
You've been listening to the Driven Woman Podcast with Diane Wingert. Want more straight talk and strategy each week that will take you from spinning to winning? Don't forget to hit subscribe in your podcast player so you won't miss a single episode. Then head on over to the Driven Woman free and private Facebook group community. See you there.